does a full MEP procurement cycle would look like?
MEP is the heart of any building. You do the civil work, you don't have the lighting, you don't have the ACs, you don't have the plumbing shaft, no one come into the picture.
Negotiation would be tough with them because they know they are the only handful of people who can help you with this.
That's the reality of MEP market. We have the window is very limited.
Good afternoon. Welcome to ProcureKey podcast. This is a podcast where we specifically talk to procurement professionals, peer to peer, heart to heart. My name is Rishabh, Principal Product Manager at ProcureKey, and today we have an amazing guest, Vivek Pandey. 20 years in procurement. That's a huge time. Look at his profile. You have got all big names, all big projects. But rather than me giving him an intro, let's hear directly from Vivek. Vivek, welcome to the podcast.
Hi Rishabh, thank you very much. I'm basically an electrical engineer, started my career in 2006. I was in CBRE Richard Ellis, it's a Fortune 500 company. I was in a project management group where I completed Fidelity, American Express, Rockwell, clients, their interior fit outs works. Post which 2008, I traveled to Dubai, and in the Dubai Metro project, basically one of the amazing project where 175 nationalities work together. So it was a good experience there. I was handling the stations. I was handling underground, overground, both station. I worked for the green line, red line, both. We delivered the project in the timelines. Switch after coming back to India in 2011. Please want me to come to the India back to the here. So in 2011, I came back in India. I joined a real estate group named 3Cs. 3C Universal Developers. It's basically a real estate group of Noida. There I started my career into procurement. The start was there with the project, and then I came to the procurement. That the journey start from there, technical along with the procurement commercial. So it's a techno-commercial. So I have completed the project 3 years there also 3C Universal, post which I went to HNS, and 2 years with HNS, having a mall and the residential project, I went to ASF. So currently, I'm working in the ASF as Assistant Vice President in Commercial and Procurement Department, handling the technical with commercial and procurement, supporting the technical team as well. ASF basically a real estate group in Gurgaon. So they make a commercial build. They are basically a commercial builder. Having said, we have 221 residential flats as well.
Wow.
So it's a luxurious flat. We already sold it out. A complex, I'll tell you, ASF Insignia is 70 acres of land. Yeah. And it's a SEZ campus. So we built up 2 buildings. We named it as Kings Canyon, Grand Canyon. It's almost 24 lakh square feet. We are coming with the new IT park named as Black Canyon. So it is also again 24 lakh square feet, a single project we are doing currently. What ASF do is leases the spaces to the IT company. So we have named the company we have in our premises. It's IT Park, SEZITITS. We are also coming with the IT Park in the Gurgaon, named as Black Canyon, in the same location of ASF Insignia. It's a part of ASF Insignia as well. So that there I am working as a Assistant Vice President. Commercial. I'm with them for last 10 years, a long period, and a good association with them.
I'm sure I could not have done justice to you if I would have given an intro for you. So thank you so much for sharing. You have got so much, from Dubai, CBRE to Dubai, and to the amazing projects that you are doing right now with ASF. I would certainly not see the world the same I would see. Now, next time I'm in Dubai in a metro, I'll remember you. I'm in Gurgaon looking at some bigger IT park, as he said. I'll remember you and ASF. So thank you so much, Vivek. Let's continue from here. And I'm sure today I'll be able to pick up a lot of brain from you, a lot of insight, a lot of nuggets from you. Thank you so much for joining. Let's continue. How does a full MEP procurement cycle would look like?
So see, MEP is a basically heart of any building, right?
100%.
You need MEP services to run any building. You do the civil work. You don't have the lighting, you don't have the ACs, you don't have the plumbing shaft. No one come into the picture. No one enter in the premises, right? So MEP is basically to run the building, you need MEP services. It's a need and it's a comfort. Electricity, plumbing is basic need. AC is basically comfort. Right. So MEP procurement, it's not linear basically. I'll tell you, it's an integrated cycle. You need to have specification. You need to close first of all design in coordination with your consultant. Later on, you have to go with the technical specification. You need to float in the market, select the vendor. After vendor approval, it's went to the execution. After execution, you have to be very clear about the payment terms, retentions, everything. So it's not like a linear process. It's like a integrated cycle. You have a different coordination required because of MEP, you have a several packages and several, you have a limited packages, right? You have various consultant coordinating together to bring up the project execution at the right time and delivery at the right time. So the major thing is you have to run everything in the parallel.
Yes, and that's far more complicated than you're actually sounding. So you are making it sound very simple and easy, and that's what a 20-year-old veteran would do. But you talked about MEP packages. When you have to select an MEP packages, there are a couple of things. You go to what is standard, what goes to the nominated suppliers or vendors, or what you directly negotiate. I mean, there could be 2-3 different ways to get a MEP package. What are your thoughts on that?
See, when you pick up a new package, MEP package, first decision is driven by the mix. It's always says techno-commercial. It's not procurement. So you have to read it all, that specification, what you are going to buy it. You have to know the criticality of it, the risk, and the commercial leverages, what you get it. Because not at one size fit all the approaches. It's gonna be a different approaches at all the times. If you go for the high value strategy with these items, my personal view is to go with the competitive bidders. Because if there is something from the MEP, you have a standard technical product and you have a various of the vendors, you go better with the competitive vendors because the rates matters there and all the qualification of the vendors matters there, right? If it is a design critical something system like HVAC or the specific requirement of the chiller or the DG set or anything or transformer specific, there is a single vendor who procured this or who may manufacture it and I need to purchase it. So we find the ways to get them negotiate. So it's from the last project or the various colleagues are there on this market or the various projects we have. So you have the references in the market for the repeat items and obviously for the AMC sort of thing. You rely on your previous rates and everything.
No, absolutely. But I just picked up something from here. At times, the categories are limited, the suppliers are even limited. Somebody doing there are a handful of companies that will give you that particular specification of technicalities that you would like, and then it and the vendors also know it. The options are really limited in terms of who all can supply, and you are very specific around the specification that you need for that technical option to do. How does that go? I mean, how do you ensure the complete genuine sourcing process, even understanding your vendors know that negotiation would be tough with them because they know they are the only handful of people who can help you with this? How does that thing look like?
That's the reality of MEP market, right? We have the vendor is very limited. Correct. So we have to create a leverages there differently. Basically, I focus smartly sourcing this product or splitting the package into different various possible. Right. So let's say we have an electrical system or package where we can split the package and get the better competitive rate. So it would be better to split it out, get the competitive rate, and go with the specific condition with that vendor who have this manufactured a single item, check their rates with other project or take the references from the other projects. So their scope get limited over it and try to have a parallel discussion with others.
So for someone who is listening to this, I'll break it down. So what a 20-year-old veteran says is when your vendors know they are limited, you know they are limited, break it down, make it competitive, have references, and let them know that you are evaluating them even
Yeah.
detail and deeper than they actually think about, which
Yeah.
actually definitely works. Now, as soon as you talked about breaking it down, the one thing that clicked me is Excel. Lot of sourcing even today works on Excel. Comparisons, rate analysis, vendor scorecard, I don't know. I mean, these are some things, but the list can keep on going. Now, as a discipline of procurement, where do you think the working on Excel limits yourself? And that's where you have to have some standard, robust system in place and not just Excel.
I tell you, Excel is a good software, and for the procurement, it's a basic need, right? So basically, it brings the clarity, more clarity to the procurement guy, because having the quote on as procurement guy as well as with the vendors. So I hold the pause and the vendor comes in the picture here, right? It's easy for the vendor to quote, it's easy for the procurement team to do comparison, analysis, rate analysis, or make anything hidden is there, you can make it, dig it out and bring it to knowledge of the management. But I'll tell you, Excel is good for one project or to hold the initial of the project or the first procurement. Procurement doesn't mean the procuring capital item. It start along the parallel with the execution of the project, where changes always happen, where design always change, where requirement always change. So these things is the truth of the project. We can't hide it. So changing the things, managing the data in Excel after first day of the procurement or first lot of the procurement is difficult. Taking reference, if you're handling the multiple sites, having the reference from other projects is difficult. Handling the data or the storing the data for the last run, or I'll tell you for taking a reference from the data. See, I'll tell you what, if I'm doing the project right now, I need a data after 1 year and my procurement executive left the office, so it would be difficult to search my data in Excel.
Yes.
That's where the technology comes in. Technology brings the foundation basically. I'll tell you, Excel is a good product, but technology brings brighter, lighten up thinking, analytic, and everything brings it in the technologies.
I agree. Talking to a lot of procurement leaders since a lot of years, Excel is amazing, but there are limitations, and that's where the procurement tool will come in picture.
Now,
Now,
design change, I'll tell you, Rishabh, it would be difficult because during the execution period, we have regular changes. Managing the things and handling the data in Excel, it's getting difficult. So there the technology comes in the picture where you have everything in the system or the ERPs have everything. So you can do that.
obviously, you had used so many procurement platforms that most of the people have even not even heard about. So that's how you have seen Excel's in depth and in detail, and also the different procurement tool in depth and in detail. Now, when you look at sourcing, or when you look at onboarding a sourcing platform from the MEP environment standpoint, where you have multi vendors, multi sites, and multi projects that are going on, list me or give me a couple of non-negotiable that this must be there in the product, otherwise this product goes away. What typically disappoints you, or what are the couple of things that you need in a tool or in a platform?
See, currently I see the procurement platform as a tower control, as a control tower. So my non-negotiable are very clear. First, real-time visibility across all the sites. Strong vendor governance. Vendor drive the project after it. The procurement goes well. After the procurement, it always the execution. So vendor governance is a second. Seamless integration means from people are earlier more fond of Excel, and now we bring to the technologies. So we need a seamless integration with the vendor base and the project systems. So these are basically, I see the non-negotiable thing in any platform, any technology, right? So anything real time, you need a data for all across the site. Any platform which can show if I'm running 5 sites, I need the data at any time at my system. Second, strong vendor evaluation governance. Third is seamless integrations.
Okay,
Because
so
seamless integration because people don't want to go change their mindset. from Excel to the.
I absolutely agree. So integrations, most important, real-time data. You don't have to live on legacy and the data would sync up when it sync up. And then governance and having those clarity and everything in picture. Absolutely. I mean,
See,
this would be something that
I find it, see, the platforms, even technologies, we use some platforms and technologies. I find it they are too rigid for the real estate. The changes, design, execution, revision, urgent buys, complex purchase. So it's always happen in this real estate world. Which right. So that's the thing. So we need in a technology to how it helps the project.
So now a typical challenging question that a typical procurement leader would typically face, what I've seen is there is always a vendor pre-qualification, a detailed checklist, a very due diligence, a thorough due diligence before you even figure out a vendor to shortlist, not even shortlisting. But at times, even after doing all of these, at site, they might not come up as good as they look on papers. What is your standard process to ensure that, or what are your red flags to ensure that such thing doesn't happen?
In MEP, I'll tell you the risk start from the beginning. Project, it start with the scope when you define the scope of the work. So in MEP, it's the risk starts from there itself. Having this said, clearly focus on the scope boundaries, what we define it, aligning BOQ with the drawings, ensuring back terms with the main contract, especially around the timelines, LD and payment conditions. See, if you have everything clear, your BOQs, your scopes, your ensuring keep all the contracts is everything, your payment terms, your LDs, your timelines, everything is clear. So you closely to interface between the packages. So what happens? You have a vendor, people says, boss, we need a vendor at the site for anything to, let's say civil is constructed, you need an electrical guy, you have to coordinate it, because if a vendor comes and there is no scope to work, it's going to be delayed. And the team always says it's because of the electrical vendor. So your right time, right procurement time, it always matters, right? Along with the commercial side, retention, payment term, you can't delay it, documentation requirement. So essentially, I'll tell you, good procurement is a proactive risk management. If you structure it right at the beginning, you prevent most dispute before they arise. So from the start, it covers.
So it's not just having a process just for the check boxes, but to abide through it, and the process must be thought through very well so that all the bases are covered. And I mean, no surprises when you try to do execution. You just talked about commercials, and I'll just add one more term: technicals and commercials. Now, for any procurement team, understanding commercials and technicals, which is the details of proposal and the depth of all the responses that you're getting, is very important. Now, somebody working in a procurement team and somebody, how do you make this procurement people stand apart from somebody who is just processing POs, right? Because often we see that some people are processing POs and processing all of these things, but they cannot be a good fit just for procurement. Just because they had been managing some portion of procurement, they cannot be a good fit for managing or reviewing or evaluating the different proposal or the different technical and the commercial side. So what are the couple of things that you look into having somebody whenever a person joins your team? What are the differentiator that, okay, you are not here to process POs, you are doing more than that?
Yeah, people think about the procurement is basically a PO. We have to change this mindset, right? We need to change this mindset. It's not a PO. It's a technical along with the commercials.
Absolutely.
So earlier what happens in anything, you find the people who are non-technical in any department and in this procurement department, and they were dealing with the technical purchase. The company understands this, and now they are bringing up the technical persons in the team who can evaluate the BOQ, who can understand the design, who can face the challenges created by the vendors. And vendor handling is a very difficult task for any project, right? So a technical person basically brings the knowledge. They can read the drawing, they can read the BOQs, they understand the specification, they know the risk factors, so they know they are able to coordinate it better. So these are all things which matters, right? So at the same time, the commercial, able to structure the package, negotiate beyond the price. See, people are more concerned about the pricing. I'll say my knowledge says price is one part. Aligning the vendor with your terms is the second part. And bringing, at the end of the day, we all have to deliver the project. And any delays because of procurement, it's always difficult for the procurement team. But it comes at the end of the delay of the project, blames comes everywhere. And ये तूने नहीं किया, ये मैंने नहीं किया, or this will happen, right? But to avoid it, a technical person. So my shift, I'll tell you, it's not a normal buying. It's a technical commercial buying along with the project delivery. You are the part of the project delivery team. You need to understand, and we bring certain guys in our organization or in marketing. It's
Okay,
not
Vivek,
normal
before-
PO purchase.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, it is so much difficult for non-procurement guys to understand that processing a PO is not procurement. Procurement is much big and even bigger ship that you have to manage, and people just think that okay, processing, selecting a vendor and processing a PO is something that qualifies them as a procurement professional. And coming to, I mean, before I let you go to manage your complex project, I really appreciate your time today. I understand your busy schedule, even on a weekend. I understand how you are managing things. But before I leave you, one last question. Within probably next couple of days, there would be a lot of 7, 8 years, 10 years people in procurement who will be watching this podcast. Now, what is that you would give them as an advice that you believe that you should got that as your younger self? So what advice would you give to the procurement professionals, people handling bigger infrastructure, or people working in the teams of similar MEP projects?
I think I wish to tell everybody, or somebody has told me earlier, procurement is not about buying. It's about enabling execution, right? What does it mean, enabling execution? I'll tell you, the project runs not just because of the execution, it runs holistic, start to end. Holistic means procurement team being a technical involved during the start of the project, start from the design, evaluation, vendor evaluation, processes, negotiation, floating of tenders or the anything, negotiation, coordination with different packages, along with involved in the execution. Very holistic approach. I tell you, so in this 20-year career, I think procurement is not just about buying anything. It's not a PO purchase. It's about enabling the execution. How you support the project to complete during defined timelines within a proper budget or defined budgets.
So the stake would be that if you really want to succeed as a good procurement leader, follow good leaders, understand that the process that they are setting up is not just for the sake of processes, but to safeguard a lot of bases, what happens later in the execution. And that was very genuinely useful. I'm very sure that a lot of people who will be listening to this and sharing this over different medias will benefit from all these golden nuggets that you have dropped today. This had been a very grounded discussion. It was so much connected peer-to-peer talk that we had today that I didn't even look out all the questions. Probably my team will come back to me on that. But this was really grounded, impromptu discussions. I have not listened and been to many such discussions, such open, candid discussions. So thank you so much, Vivek, for doing that. And for the viewers, if you believe that this is resonating with you, do share with your peers, do share with your colleagues. And thank you so much, Vivek. Thank you, viewers, for the watching. And we'll come back with the next episode.
Rishabh, thank you very much. Bye-bye.